What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Hill Homestead. My name is Austin, and if you live in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia, or honestly probably surrounding states, you have noticed how much rain we have gotten. It has not stopped raining for about a week. It's not necessarily a hard rain, but is a steady drizzle or like a misty rain. So nothing outside is getting accomplished. So in today's video, we're going to do a full service on our BadBoy 3026H tractor. This is my first time doing it, so hopefully everything goes well. Before I do any type of maintenance on anything, typically I go onto YouTube and get my degree from YouTube University on doing things like this. I am not a mechanical type of person. I learn things on the fly typically. So this is definitely something new for me, and we will learn together. But I've kind of went through the entire tractor. I got all of my parts from my local dealer, and I brought my manual down here to kind of walk me through it as well. But something that I've noticed is that the manual is not nearly as detailed as the manual online. The manual online gives you color. The manual online shows you pictures, better pictures than the manual that they send you with the tractor. What I'm going to be using is the back side of the tractor. Takes a 1.25 inches, and all of the other nuts take a 17mm socket. We have got our funnels. We have our oil filter. We have two different hydraulic filters. One is labeled as an HST filter, and something I noticed about these two hydraulic filters is the size difference. And looking over the tractor, I know exactly where they go, so that will not be an issue. We also, because I ordered through the dealer to make sure I got everything correct, I got the BadBoy hydraulic and transmission oil. They gave me 5 gallons of that. I don't think I'm going to be using all of that. And then for the engine oil, I went and got 15W40. It calls for 10W40 in the manual, but I don't really think it matters that much as far as that goes. And I've got my grease gun to grease up all moving parts, as well as my fuel filter. Like I say, I went ahead and ordered all of these things through my dealer because of how many different filters this thing called for, as well as the manual calling for BadBoy OEM parts and oils. We will also, while we're going ahead and doing everything, we'll go ahead and change the air filter as well. I don't think that most of these things will be bad, but it is its first service. It is over 100 hours, and I know that the book also calls for changing these at different hourly times, 50 hours here and there. We're just gonna do them all right now. So I will show you guys step by step everything that I do, and we'll get into it. All right, so I have this boom propped up on this fan here. It should hold just fine. But for those of you who have never opened one of these up, there's a lever on the front. You just pop the hood that way, and then it lifts right up. Something that I do like about this tractor in particular, and it may be the same in other tractors, is the fact that they have all of the drain plugs colored. So right now, I know it's dark, you can't probably see it very well, but all of the drain plugs are yellow. So it makes it super simple in finding each and every drain plug that you need to drain in order to change all of your fluids. All right, so we are currently underneath of the front end of the tractor, and right here is your engine oil plug. So what we're gonna do is get that unscrewed and let everything drain into here, and then we will pull the oil filter. All right, so we're just gonna let this drain out until it is completely dry. while that's draining, we will go ahead and pull the oil filter and replace it. That's the good thing about getting the parts from the dealer themselves, is because everything matches up to size, color. So we will see if we can do it with our hand, but if not, I may have to get some assistance with the, it's a little tight in there. Yeah, let's get a tool to help out. Phew! That was an absolute bear to get off of there. But important thing is it's off now. What we're going to do now is take a little bit of oil and lube up this side. Into that O-ring. Set that one to the side. And voila, there's the oil filter. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off, this dipstick, and stick it back in as well. All right, now we're going to go back under and stick the nut back in at the bottom so that our new oil does not drain out as we put it in. All right. Looking at the front of the tractor, here being the battery, just behind the battery is this red plug right here. It's a little dusty, it might even be orange. We're gonna unscrew that. And that is our oil. I know it says it's dirty, but that is our oil cap. And it's orange. Going to stick a funnel in there as sturdy as I can, and we are going to take our engine oil and pour it in there. Now it calls for, I think it was like 0.79 worth of a gallon, but we will pour some in and we will check it periodically, check the dipstick to make sure we can see it and that our oil levels are good. All right, I would venture to say that's about 3/4 of a gallon. So what I'm gonna do is go check the dipstick to see where we are at on that. I will clean it off and check it a couple times. Checking the dipstick, everything looks good, but I'm gonna go ahead and do all of the filters and things like that. Start it, let everything settle, and then I'll come back and check everything else again. The next thing we'll be changing should be the simplest one of them all, and that is the air filter, which is just inside of this thing. Something about this tractor is they knew how to put all these parts in here as tightly as possible. All right, there's the old one, and there's a new one. Could just spray this one out more than likely and get some more life out of it, but while we're doing a full service, we may as well. Next thing that we are going to tackle is the front axle, and like I stated earlier, it is the yellow piece right here. And I noticed that I'm very close and it's probably going to run out, so I did grab an extra funnel so that way I can funnel it back in to our container here. So the other filters that I was referring to are on the back side of the tractor. There's one here and there's one on the other side. Now the drain plugs for these, also yellow. There's one here. I think that might be the only one back here, but I will definitely double check before getting out of here. Now this one requires a little bit larger filter wrench. Ooh, quite a bit coming out of this filter. I forgot to hit record, but I went ahead and pulled this plug right here, also labeled with a yellow color, and it began pouring out the remainder of the fluid. So I'm waiting for that to drain out now. We will plug this back in, put 2 new filters on each side, and then we will refill this thing right back up. So there is another drain plug right here, so we'll go ahead and unscrew this one and make sure we got all the fluid out of the tractor. The plug for the hydraulic oil to refill is actually right here behind the tractor. So we will unscrew this and fill it up. Well, the good news is we're almost done. The bad news is I just broke my tripod. So we're gonna have some funky angles the rest of this video. But we are going to put, it calls for 2.64 gallons of this hydraulic transmission oil. We're going to pour a little bit at a time, make sure we're not leaking in the bottom. And we've got 3 gallons sitting here, so let's get to it. All right, that seems to be just over 2.5 gallons. Actually, I might have went a little bit more to almost 2 3/4 of a gallon, but that's all right. If it's low, I'll add more, but we will just have to run it and find out. I still do not see any leaks, so that is good, but realistically I won't see any until I start it up and it rattles around a little bit. So I'm going to check everything over one more time, make sure all the nuts and bolts and everything that I took apart is, I'm gonna make sure they're all good before starting this thing back up. I still do have to do the front axle as well, add a little bit of oil in there. And then we are going to also see if we can figure out the fuel filter. That is something I do not want to mess up. Well, I don't want to mess up any of it, but specifically that, because I do not want any air to get in here, because I don't want to have to bleed any lines. After checking the service manual for the 3026, it actually takes 2.9 gallons of the transmission oil, the hydraulic oil. So we are going to go back and we will add a little bit more. Like say, I was kind of pushing that. I went, 2 gallons, maybe almost 3 gallons, just shy. We'll add a little bit more just to be sure. All right, I am not going to mess with the fuel filter, mainly because I can't get my hands in there to unscrew it right now until I have some sort of other tool. I do know in order to do this, this is your fuel filter. You want to flip this up to shut off your fuel. Unscrew this, which is just really, really tight back in behind it. So I'll see if I can unscrew this later on, and then your fuel filter will be able to be replaced from inside of here. The final thing for this process is going to be greasing up all the moving parts. If you look in your manual, you will find all of the fittings that need to be greased. Let me see what kind of grease I even got. Oh, I'll put it there. I just got this general purpose grease. It was something cheap from Harbor Freight. So that's what we picked up. And so I'm gonna go through, find all the moving parts, grease everything up, and I'll kind of do a review in here in just a second. Something that I did not look very hard for in the manual was the grease fittings. So I just kind of went through, did my best to find them all. I'm sure I may have missed some, but I will show you guys exactly where they all were that I have found. On the front end loader, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this side, and they are identical on the other side as well. On the front end, there is, got some extra grease there, one right there on the front. And back here, near the PTO shaft, there is also one right here. I'm sure there is something that needs grease down inside of here, but that will take some further investigation. I will look around in there before I put the grease gun up, and we will see if I missed any. My coolant level also seems to be okay, so I'm not gonna add any, mainly because I don't have any here. I would top it off while I'm doing this if I had some, but I don't. So we're gonna go ahead and shut this hood down, and we are going to start it up, get off of it, check for leaks, turn it off, and then go back and check our oil levels to make sure everything looks good. So I checked my oil, it looks good. So for those of you who don't know, your way to check your hydraulics was with that dipstick right there, and this one is showing nothing. So we're going to add some more hydraulic fluid and in hopes to get it showing on the stick again. So after adding another gallon, we are starting to see some fluid on there, so we are good to go. Okay guys, I think that is going to be plenty for this video. That is pretty much a full service on this tractor. I ended up not doing the fuel filter, topping off the coolant, and doing like spraying out the radiator with air, kind of cleaning it out. But those are realistically the only three things that I did not do. We did the grease on all the pivot points. We changed the hydraulics. We changed the engine oil. What else did we do? I'm sure I'm missing something. Oh, air filter. But this was fairly simple following the manual. So, like I say, always refer back to that. There are not very many videos on YouTube as far as this thing goes. I don't know if that's because it's a fairly new tractor. I know that there are plenty of people who have this tractor, but for whatever reason, there are not very many service videos. So hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up too bad for you guys. And if I did, then guess you guys will tell me, or I'll figure it out later when something goes wrong. But anyways, hopefully this helps you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. Please come back again. Go check out some old videos. That would be much appreciated by myself. But we'll see you guys next time.